Afternoon, everyone. David was good enough to send over some footage from his back garden and his chipping. So we said we'd have a little bit of a look at it. A couple of things. David would be the first to admit it's an area of the game that he struggled with a little bit. And for me, the reason becomes fairly clear when we watch the footage here. So from a setup position, you can see a fairly traditional setup in the sense that we've got a little bit of shaft lean towards the target, which is something we'll come back to shortly. Nice width to stands, quite happy with that. Posture looks decent as well. As we start to take the club back, the issue for me, let's see if we can link these a bit better. The issue for me is that the first movement is very much with this right hand hinging back. And what it gives rise to, a couple of things. The first thing is that the club ends up quite significantly behind them. And you can see, just pace it forward, it's a little, you can also see that it changes the effective loft that he's going to be able to deliver. So absolute worst case, I would want that leading edge to be mirroring David's spine angle. You can see his spine angle there. You can see leading edge. Now, your old traditional view of where the club should be would be with the club face open to the point where the toes pointing straight to the sky. So this should basically be a straight line this direction. So you can see we're significantly closed here and significantly de-lofted. The problem that gives in is as he approaches the golf ball is that we're not really likely to present an awful lot of effective loft. And you can see that as we approach impact, if you just watch that left-hand screen, how much more shaft lean there is. And the consequence of that, quite simply, is that there's less loft. And also, it means that there's a potential for this leading edge in the club to be digging into the grass. Now, typically when we're practicing and there's not an awful lot of pressure on, most people can kind of time that relatively well and get away with it. The problem is, of course, as soon as we stand up in a medal play situation, that all of a sudden those old jitters, those nerves come back in. We don't want to hit it heavy. We flick the hands at it and we hit it a little bit thin. These are obviously two different swings, and in actual fact, I would suggest that watching this right hand footage, David actually doesn't get his weight anywhere near as far forward in this one as he does in the left hand video. The consequence is he's managed to get the ball airborne a little bit more quickly. As he said in his message, much to the concern of his neighbour, because this golf ball actually flies directly over that fence. So what we would do, and here's the crux of it, the key thing for me would be, as we take the club back, would be, well, from a setup position first and foremost, actually, personally speaking, I'd move this golf ball further forward in the stance and therefore reduce the shaft lean at address. So I would have the ball kind of not off the left heel, but closer to the left heel, so the shaft's sitting a little bit more vertical. It means there's no need to move the hands or anything, just changing ball position. That, in essence, is going to present more effective loft. It's going to allow us to use the sole of the club to bounce more effectively. From there, as David takes the club back, if we switch to the right-hand screen now, instead of taking the club back with the right hand and with it hinging as it does, I'd want him to be practicing feeling as though his right hand's rotating. So really feeling as though the knuckles on the right hand are actually getting underneath the golf club. Obviously, as we rotate the hands this way, the club face mirrors that, and we start to see more effective loft on the club. From that position, essentially it would be the action of skimming a stone. So if you were to try and skim a stone, you would just let using this technique, you would just let the club head start to drop naturally and then just let the right hand release. I think with traditional methodologies, we would be kind of saying, well, keep your hands still, you're moving your hands too much. There's nothing wrong with letting the hands release, providing you've set the hands into a position where they can work. In that sense of skimming a stone, you would then start to present the club with less shaft lean. So you can see how it's obviously exaggerated here. So we present it with less shaft lean, more effective loft, but also more importantly, you would get the sole of the club, the bounce, working effectively. So you could actually glide that club along the ground. You'll see tour players with angles of attack at 7 and 8 degrees here, sometimes even more, and they don't take a divot because they're using the bounce of the club and it's gliding along the ground. So I think in the past there's probably been misunderstandings about what people are trying to do and how we're trying to do it. I think keep it simple as we can. Let that right hand rotate under the shaft, get the feeling that the knuckles on the right hand in particular are pointing towards the ground rather than pointing skyward. Change the effective loft and then let the club turn through. I think you start to see some fairly big differences. It's obviously a skill set that if we've got a garden, you can maybe practice with airflow golf balls or whatever. And I sincerely hope this wasn't a real golf ball and or that there's not a greenhouse the other side of this fence. But you can be practicing your garden and just see if you can get a feel for that. Feel free to send your videos in. If you find them useful, subscribe to the channel, click down below and let us know what you think. Take care.